What do we genuinely make of Tennessee going into week one? They lose Nico Iamaleava, they bring in Joey Aguilar, and it feels like all the attention on Josh Heupel's squad is based off one sole position. But when you look at the rest of the team, it's still pretty good. Solid rushing attack, the offensive line feels a lot better. And yes, the defense did lose some productivity, but that depth is going to have an opportunity to start underneath Tim Banks. I could see the Vol season going a lot of ways in Rocky Top. They could be 6-6, 9-3, maybe even 10-2 if Joey Aguilar meets the expectations. But what is going to be the scenario for that to happen? You got to win 3 games. It will define their season. At Alabama, at Kentucky, home against Oklahoma. Let's break it all down. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here. Volunteer Nation, make sure you like the video, hit the ring notification, and subscribe to the channel because we talk volunteer football and college football daily. Download the podcast version of the show. Check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. And make sure you're following us on the social media channels at SEC Unfiltered. And as always, we're proudly brought to you by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go visit FANDUEL.com/SECU. Join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Right now, the line is strong for Tennessee to hit the over. Maybe throw a little bit of cash on the Volunteers to make the college football playoff for a second straight year. Do so by going to FanDuel.com/SECU. You'll win $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Now, again, there are more daunting games on the schedule, like the Florida matchup, the Georgia matchup. I'll even throw the Arkansas game in there because you want revenge after last season. But it does feel like for a 3-game stretch, these games will truly define where you rank among the crew. Let's start off third Saturday in October. Right now, the ball is in Josh Heupel's court. They beat Alabama last year on their home turf. And in the second half, there were moments that you felt like the Crimson Tide were going to get back into this game, and they never did. And that was largely due to the defense stepping on up. But here's the thing. We know Josh Heupel, and we know his road atmosphere against top 10 teams. It's not promising. Alabama, as long as everything goes according to plan, will be a top 10 team going into this matchup. And they're a team that's good enough to win a national title. When I look at Alabama going into this season, they may be the most complete team on paper if they have competent quarterback play. Big if. Massive if there. With Keelan Russell, Austin Mack, Ty Simpson. Doesn't really matter who is the guy. But if they have quality play, they're going to beat you. And I'm not saying Tennessee, I'm saying everybody. That's how loaded this roster feels going into this upcoming fall. But you may be able to have a bet of success because you've already faced off against at least an offensive personnel that features Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. You brought in Colton Hood, made the pick of the day. They had to blur out whoever was in the corner because we didn't know if it was the quarterback or not. But he looks the part. And I think he's going to have a bigger role than we're giving credit to, whether it be on the outside, whether it be in the nickel. Imagine him taking on one-on-one reps against Ryan Williams, and he blocks him out of the game. And now Ty Simpson's got to trust, hey, Jeremy Bernard or Isaiah Horton or one of these guys that we're not sold on to be that next breakout star. But we are sold on number 2 being the number 1 threat, and now he's lost. What if you force them to run the football? Like your secondary gets back Jamad McCoy this week, and you have Boo Carter playing really well, and Aaron Carr is doing his job, and everyone is lined up in the right spot, and you gotta just trust the ground game. We really don't know what Alabama is on the ground. Last season, we put a lot of emphasis on Jalen Milroe, but you look at what Justice Haynes and Jam Miller did, it wasn't promising. They had a lot of moments of actual doubt where you couldn't trust your running back to truly move the sticks in a positive direction. And yes, they have Washington. They brought in the UConn transfer. There's a lot of talent in the backfield. But what if the play calling underneath Ryan Grubb doesn't mesh with it? And now you're forcing them to have to play through the air, and your offense strikes. And this is a game where Braylon Staley steps on up, or Mike Matthews has his breakout moment, or Miles Kitselman is the best tight end in college football, or certainly the best in the SEC. And you're leading by 14 going into the fourth quarter. Now you're forcing Alabama to win through the air. And it's also showing that you've taken advantage of one of the best secondaries in college football. And you leave Bryant-Denny Stadium firing up another cigar and sitting here and saying, hey, not only is Josh Heupel, who has changed the identity of the program, and I think a lot of people forget where Tennessee was before he got here, he's also now been able to say, I got an upset win against a top 10 team in their backyard, and I handle business. That's going to carry a lot of weight, and it's going to forget all of the doubt that comes in the Georgia game and how you look in the Arkansas game or whatever else is on the schedule. You may only have one loss at that point, and that's going to catapult you into getting to, hey, another upset win, another victory against an ill-advised team. We go play in the swamp this year. Maybe we carry this momentum, and we got ourselves feeling like we're in a great spot, good situation. Everything is going according to plan. But then you got to go to Kentucky. And we know what happens with Kentucky. Kentucky's a team that is going to be very sneaky. The years that we just kind of doubt them, they end up doing really well. A lot of people are down in Kentucky this year. I could see them being the bottom of the barrel. I could see them not even making a single win or being a stepping stool in the SEC this year. I really could. There's not a lot of juice for this team, which again is terrifying to me because that makes Kentucky now feel like they're going to get a lot of juice. They're going to get a signature win at this point, and now they're going to utilize that to get to 8-4. You got to shut the rumors. And again, how you respond after a massive win is essential to get you in the hunt for the playoff. You beat Alabama. You go into their backyard and you handle business. Or you lose to Alabama by 3. But it's a close call, and Joey Aguilar looks the part. And you're no longer doubting that this offense can't still be as dynamic as it was supposed to be with Nico. You go play in Lexington. How's that look? Are you throwing in a double coverage and now you're getting a couple pick sixes? Are you unable to capitalize inside the red zone? Is this going to be a lot like the Florida game where maybe Kentucky doesn't end up finishing drives, but your offense is so stalled, you're not able to get anything going. So you go into halftime trailing. And then you finally see somebody in your rushing attack, whether it be Peyton Lewis or Deshaun Bishop or Star Thomas. They end up breaking on out for a 30-yard touchdown run. And then that's where you get your groove and your momentum. I'm not saying that this is a game that you can sleep on. I'm not saying that this is a game that you can just walk into and feel confident in. I'm saying that this is a game that you should feel like you were the more superior team because of on paper and on production, you are. But how are you going to be able to respond? Can you have your offense prove that it is a multidimensional facet that will be able to beat you in a slew of ways on any given Saturday? Can your defense force Zach Calzada or Cutter Boley or whoever's going to be the starting quarterback that weekend have to throw it in the air? You take away the rushing attack. And now you got to see, is Jamori Macklin going to live up to expectations? Are we going to see Kendrick Law be that wide receiver that was supposed to be one of the big-time names at Alabama? What are we going to get for the tight end position? Is this offensive line going to be able to hold this front seven? And if you dismantle Kentucky in their backyard, I don't know what that says about Kentucky. I can tell you what it says about you. There's no quit. Doesn't matter what happened in the week before. You're here to deliver dominance the following Saturday, and you don't care. That is all that's on the table for you. And if you do that, you get to come on home, and you get to welcome back Josh Heupel. I mean, my bad. You get to welcome in Brett Venables, Josh Heupel's old team. My apologies on that one. Oklahoma comes to town. Oklahoma and Tennessee are on two very different spectrums, in my opinion, when it comes to the public eye. A lot of people are paying ample attention to what's going on in Norman. A lot of people are saying Sooners are going to the playoff this year if all things go according to plan. Well, things to go according to plan, they got to get this upset win. Or they got to march into Neyland Stadium and they got to beat you. And we don't know what the spread's going to be at this point. Right now, I think it's probably in favor of Oklahoma by like maybe 1.5. But still, they got to come to your backyard. Josh Heupel does not want to lose in his backyard to his former team. That's just a given. But we also got to realize that one thing that stands out about this Oklahoma roster compared to this Tennessee roster is Oklahoma's hype is all around the quarterback. John Mateer. You have no hype around Joey Aguilar. A lot of people have Joey Aguilar as the 15th or 16th best quarterback in the SEC. Some people have John Mateer as a top 10 passer. That's where we're at in a society going into this game. So can you flip the script? Can Joey Aguilar be what John Mateer is supposed to be in this game? Home, 300 passing yards. You build a rapport with Miles Kitselman. Mike Matthews comes on up and has a big-time breakout play. And now you're humming. And now it's every single drive. It's like 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 1st and 10, and you're productive. And you're picking apart this Brent Venables defense that is patented to work against this style of offense very well. And it's done so in the past. And now you look and you're able to trust your ground game to open up the passing attack on 2nd and 3rd down. Your passing attack is allowing you to be multidimensional when it comes to the play design on 3rd down calls. And your defense gets after a quarterback that last year, yes, was phenomenal. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He was great in the Pac-12 or whatever was the Pac-2 at that point. But still, he had his faults. Multiple games where he threw into double coverage. Multiple games where his legs couldn't get the job done. Can you make the offense one-dimensional? Maybe you have to trust this to be the Jaden Ott game if you're Oklahoma. Maybe you have to trust that John Mateer is going to find creases in the defense and be able to run it upfield for a 20-yard gain. But can you take away this passing attack? We don't know what Oklahoma's wide receiver room looks like. We don't know what Oklahoma's offensive line looks like. Last season, they were the worst in college football in terms of sacks among Power 4 teams. They have a 52 that's not sustainable for any quarterback to have success, even the mobile ones. So can you make sure that this offense is saying, dude, you got to win through the ground. because we can't hold you up in pass pro. Their defense is just smothering us. It is basically biscuits and gravy, and we are the biscuits, they are the gravy. Coming on down, we're suffocating. That's what you want to see. You win those games. Let's say you just go 2-1 in that stretch. You beat Kentucky, you beat Oklahoma. Let's say you lose the game to Georgia. Can you beat New Mexico State? At Florida? At Vanderbilt? That might be 10-2 at that point. And if that's 10-2, you're in the college football playoff again. But what if you're 9-3? What if, say, you lose to Oklahoma and you lose to Alabama, but you win out? 9-3 for what this team went through, with how much departure, with how many questions they had at wide receiver, with how much turnover it was with quarterback. Still a good year. Still a year to where you can say, we have a foundation. We know that we have the right coach. We're going to have a great recruiting class. We're going to be poignant in the transfer portal. And we're still going to finish in the top 25. We're still in the hunt. And maybe a few things swing your way, and maybe because of you have that upset win, whether it be against Alabama or Georgia, and the committee looks at that and goes, 9-3 teams that are in the hunt, Rocky Top belongs. And you know what? Maybe we'll give them the shot to even go to a playoff this upcoming season. But let me know in the comment section down below which 3-game stretch will define the Volunteer schedule in 2025. Like, review, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following us on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. Rocky Top's rolling in 2025. I'm Cole Thompson and Volunteer Nation. I promise you, even if this year is not your year, you still have a shot to go ahead and impress. Peace.